Okay. All right. Okay. You're supposed to present to us, both of you. Do you have the work ready for presenting?
Yes, teacher may have.
Yes, Joel, you can go first. You can share the screen and go first with the presentation.
Of the first assignment, teacher. Yes,
Yes,
teacher.
yes, the first. Yes, please.
Okay. Then we will present. Share. Share screen. Teacher, isn't that one the table? Teacher.
Yes, yes, Joel. Yeah, it's the assignment. Yeah, it's the one. You can go ahead and explain your findings.
Okay. So question was given the factors production receives transfer earnings of shillings 200,000 and its economic rate is half transfer and
Okay, I think Joel's network is not good. Uh, Karen, can you present to us that same assignment as we wait for Joel to rejoin? Madrin, you're welcome. We are presenting the activity on calculating. Karen is presenting to us. You prepare as well what you came up with as we wait for Joel to rejoin. Yes, Karen, we can see your screen. You can unmute. You can unmute and then start off the discussion. Joel, sorry about the network. Hope you're ready now. You will present after this.
okay, teacher.
Teacher, let him present first.
Okay, fine. Joel, you share the screen and press and go first.
Okay. Let me see. Okay, it is here. Well, according to me, that's what I interpreted. Okay, we are starting with that rent is under factor prices and land is for rent. As rent is for land, then this wage for labor, interest for capital, profit for entrepreneurship. And last time we talked about salaries for
A
all
moment,
organization.
Joel.
Yes, teacher.
Okay. I don't know, Karen and Madrin, are you able to see the activity about transfer earnings? Because personally, I'm seeing some question, actually math question.
It is for mathematics.
No, teacher. It is for econ.
Oh my goodness.
Yes,
Taught me the
But we are seeing,
equations.
It's trigonometry.
okay, let me first stop sharing and it is trigonometry. Oh my god, let me try to open it as Karen is presenting. But for me, I was seeing this other question that I attempted.
okay, as when you ask to share screen, they are normally different windows. So maybe you selected the one for math.
Oh.
Okay, Karen, you can.
Okay. Economic rent. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Economic rent is the payment to the worker or factor over and above its transfer earnings in a long run. And transfer earnings is the minimum payment needed to keep a worker in work, or the minimum payment needed to keep a factor of production in its present use. This means that the transfer earnings has to be more than the next option which the person can go and work in. Like if someone is a doctor, the transfer earnings may be like maybe 50,000 shillings. That's the minimum. And it has to be above any other option, like maybe being an engineer, which earns 40,000. So if the transfer earnings is below 50,000, below that 40,000 of the engineer, means that worker will not remain in that job. He can as well go to the other job. That's why I say a person stays in a job depending on economic rent or transfer earnings. This was the assignment. Given that a factor of production receives a transfer earning of 200,000 shillings and its economic rent is half the transfer earnings, calculate the factor's actual earnings. So the transfer earnings was 200,000, then economic rent, a half of 200,000, which is the transfer earnings. Then the actual earnings is equal to transfer earnings plus economic rent. That's how I got 200,000 plus 100,000, which gives 300,000. So why we add them?
Mm-hmm.
This is the economic rent and transfer earnings. actual earnings or the real earnings means that you have to add both of these economic rent and transfer earnings, which means all here you have to add. This is the real earnings, both of them together. That's what I have.
Okay, thank you so much, Karen, for that good presentation. I will comment after the others have presented too, unless Joel or Madrin has a question for you, Karen. Joel, do you have any question for Karen about her presentation?
No.
Madrin, do you have any question for her?
No.
Okay, Joel, you can go next, then Madrin will follow. You can share the screen and present.
I think that's which are using the screen. Teacher. Teacher.
We are seeing
Okay.
well.
Okay. Now what I was saying about what what I interpreted in the question. Rent is monetary is under factor prices. So, and it is rent for land, and we have wage for labor, interest for capital, profit for entrepreneurship. As you are told us, salary, it is for an organization, something of that sort. Then under rent, we have that rent is a monetary reward for land and for its contribution towards the production process. So meaning that, and also rent is also classified into categories. This one we have the economic rent, the quasi rent, the commercial rent. But according to me, what I interpreted here, right, the transfer earnings. Okay, this is the monetary payment necessary to return a factor of production in its to retain it in its present employment without transferring it to other users. And also economic rent. Economic rent is okay. This refers to the monetary payment to the factor of production over and above its supply, i.e., that is the payment over what is enough to keep the factor of production in its present condition. So, and the question was telling us that given to the factor of production, rises transfer earnings of shillings 200,000, and its economic rate is a half. It is a half of the transfer earning. Calculate the factor's actual earnings. So the factor's actual earning for me are interpreted like this: that we are supposed to subtract to get the actual. It is here. It is here. The factor actual earnings, which is the transfer earnings minus economic rent. And we looked at that the economic rent is half of the transfer earnings. So this so therefore economic rent is half of the transfer earnings, and the transfer earnings were 200,000. So economic rent is half of that. We are obtaining 100,000 shillings. So therefore the factors actual earnings will be transfer earnings minus economic rent, which is 200,000 shillings minus 100,000 shillings, which is 100,000 shillings. Yeah, that is what I managed to research about. Yeah. Any questions?
Okay, thank you, Joel, for that presentation. He's asking if you have any question for him, Madrin, Karen, you can put it forward. Okay, I'll give my comments after Madrin's presentation. Madrin, can you share your screen and present to us what you have?
Oh, the question was, given that the factor of production receives a transfer earning of 200, and this economic rate is a half of the transfer earning, then we were told to calculate the factor's actual income. What I understood is that since the factor earning is 200 and the economic rate is a half, I got the economic rent as 100. Then in order to get the factor earning, the factor's actual earning, I also subtracted the transfer earning minus the rate to get its actual earning, like the way Gerald had said in his presentation.
Why?
Thank you, Madrin, for the presentation. Joel has a question for you. You can go forward and explain more about.
The way I got the answer.
No, how? Okay, how did you come to? Okay, even name it.
Joel, are you good to go now? Have you been answered by Madrin or you rest your case?
Rest my case. I rest my case.
Okay. Okay. So when maybe I can talk about economic rent, and then you judge yourself. You give me the what we should go with. When we talk of economic rate itself, it's the difference between actual earnings and transfer earnings of a factor of production. So, and in this, what do we mean? If we say that economic rent is the difference between actual earnings and transfer earnings, mathematically, what do we mean, Joel?
Teacher, the difference between?
Okay, let us have Joel. Can you share Microsoft Word, an empty Microsoft Word document, a new document of Microsoft Word?
Teacher, it is a type of work.
Tag of what do you mean?
Teacher, I don't know how to operate it. So
Eh, okay,
an empty one. Microsoft Word. Let me try.
I
Let
mean
me
just
try.
opening a new Word document.
Okay, teacher.
Yeah.
Let me do it. Mhm. Then where is Microsoft Word? Let me type here. Microsoft. No. Microsoft Word. I had it here. Let me look for it. Microsoft Edge. Microsoft Office. Microsoft Word. It It is here. Teacher, it's loading. It's here.
So I want us to put it in a formula. You can go on and open that. Not responding. Okay.
Yes, teacher.
Okay, there we go. So if we say that you can leave the header and go exactly. So if we say that economic rent is the difference between actual earnings and transfer earnings, I want us to put in a mathematical way. First, we can actually note what we have in the question. You can read for us what we have in the question. What is the economic rent in the question? Is it 100,000?
It is 200,000.
That is the economic rent.
Teacher, it is 200,000.
Okay, you can go ahead and type it there in our document, what you're presenting on
Yes.
us. Just say economic rent, 2,000, 200,000. Then what do you have as transfer earnings from activity? Yes. How about the transfer earnings? Is it 100,000? Karen, from the activity, what do we have as the transfer earnings?
200,000.
Sorry, come again, you are breaking.
200,000 shillings.
Transfer earnings is the one with 200,000.
Yes.
How about the economic rent?
Half the transfer earnings.
That is 100,000.
Yes.
Okay, Joel's network is failing us. Maybe one of us can share the screen. I want us to do this practically. You can share the screen and open a new Word document. Madrin, are you on the computer? You can share your screen and then open a new Word document.
I'm not.
Okay, Karen is here. Okay, you can type there transfer earnings. You can just set TE is equal to 200,000, then economic rent, half of this, which is 100,000. Okay, so far that's what we have in our activity, and they are asking us to calculate the actual earnings. So from the definitions, we've just said that economic rent is the difference between actual earnings and transfer earnings of a fact of production. What we can note from this definition is the difference. What do you mean by the word difference in math?
Subtraction.
Subtraction.
Okay, okay, thanks. We can note that. So you note that wherever you're asked to calculate the economic rent, you have it in your mind that the sign I'm using or the symbol I'm using for this question is subtraction. Then if we look at the definition of transfer earnings, transfer earnings, actually you can note it, Karen, you can note it on our document that economic rent, you can just say ER, something like that. Economic rent is equal to you can say actual earnings minus transfer earnings, because we've said that the difference represents subtraction in math. So if we say that economic rent is the difference between actual earnings and transfer earnings, this is interpreted as actual earnings minus transfer earnings equaling to economic rent. Fena tukiriziganya kwekyo? Are we at par with that?
Yes.
Yes.
And when we look at the definition for transfer earnings is normally the actual earnings minus rent. So we can as well note that down. Transfer earnings is always equal to actual earnings minus rent. Rent, that is the economic rent. So you can say TE is equal to actual earnings minus rent or minus economic rent.
The transfer earning is 0.
Minus economic rent. Okay, so we have our two definitions there, or our two formulas here. From any of these formulas, we can get the formula of calculating the actual earnings. Am I right?
Yes, teacher.
Yes, Joel, from the first formula, if we say that economic rent is equal to actual earnings minus transfer earnings, how about actual earnings? Joel,
So
what will be the formula for actual earnings from the first
will
formula?
be actual earnings will be equal to economic rent plus transfer earnings.
Okay, thank you. Madrin, what will be the formula for actual earnings from the second formula?
Be economic rent plus the transfer earning.
Madrin, we can't hear you. If the network is poor, you can type in the chat.
The economic rate plus transfer earning.
Economic rent plus transfer earnings. So, so this will help us conclude the right formula for finding the actual earnings. So if we want to get the actual earning, it means that we are going to get what we call the economic rent and then add what we call the the transfer earnings. If we add the two, if we get the summation of the two, that is economic rent and transfer earnings, then we shall come up with what we call the actual earnings. So if according to our question, we have our transfer earnings as 200,000, economic rent as 100,000. So to get the actual earnings of any unit of labor from this, you're going to sum up the two and come up with 300,000 as the answer for the actual earnings. Joel and Nadrin, do you have any question?
No, teacher, you can proceed.
Okay, if you get that well, I want us to get this question and calculate so that I can get confirmed that you've gotten it clearly. So if a question comes, okay, I can share the screen and you read the question yourself. Karen, thank you. You can unshare. Let me look for the question here you want us to. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, I want us, oh, you can leave out this. These are just the definitions I was talking about. The question is there. You can carry on the calculations wherever you are. I just need an answer. If you're done with the question, with the calculations, you can just air it out your answer. Alvin, you're welcome. You can as well go on and calculate what you're seeing on your screen. Then after, you will need to share with us your answer about the question that we have in our learning activity.
member.
Sorry, I had gone off because of the network. Yeah, Joel, you've changed the answer. Okay. Alvin, are you able to share the answer for the other first activity? Madrin, what do you have as the answer for this activity, this question that has been on the screen?
490.
Okay, the same as Joel and Karen. How about Alvin? What have you come up with?
90.
Sorry? Is it my network again? You're breaking?
$490,000.
Okay, so that's the right answer for that. So we realize that whenever we need to get a transfer earning, there is a difference between the actual earnings and the economic rent, and that's why we do subtract. And then for economic rent, the same case, we have to subtract transfer earnings from actual earnings. So the actual earnings is supposed to be the summation of the two, that is transfer earnings and economic rent. I think that is clear. Alvin, can we see what you have before we end the engagement, what you have for the activity?
The work is in my computer, not the computer.
Okay, all right, okay. You present that work in the other engagement. So we are supposed to have 2 engagements a week. And at the beginning, I asked the time for the second engagement, and Karen was suggesting tomorrow 2 p.m. Is it fine for everyone? Can we have our second engagement this week tomorrow, 2 p.m.? Joel is ever free. Okay, so 2 p.m. tomorrow is okay to you. How about Alvin and Madrin?
Yeah, I'm okay with it.
I'm okay with it.
Okay, so we can have our other engagement tomorrow. Alvin, you'll share with us what you have about the activity. Then we can also search about labor efficiency and labor supply, demand for labor. I hope you've noted down those terminologies. We shall look at them. Oh, I can send the activity in the group, so you'll be prepared by tomorrow to discuss for us. Is it okay? Trevor, behave. All right, okay. Unless you have another inquiry. Do you have any question before we end the engagement?
Teacher, for me, I have, okay, I have like somewhat, I have, okay, questions. Questions,
Okay.
It is like
Okay.
in form of a past paper. Can we form a discussion group?
You can actually share those questions, and then we open, we allow other members to research about those questions.
and we organize an engagement for those questions specifically.
Teacher, there are very many.
There are very many.
Hmm.
You
They are
share
like
them with us.
200. Teacher, they are
200.
like 200. Yes.
You mean that we do not have any answer?
No, teacher, the thing is, like,
Eh.
okay, if we are to share it and we go through and we see the question approach.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
If you can put those questions on the group, on our WhatsApp group, then if we agree to get one of the engagement off for discussing those questions, then it is okay. So first put those questions in the group, then we shall also decide on what to do them in the group. Is it okay?
It is okay. Teacher, they are
Okay,
about price theory.
it is okay. It's okay.
Okay, teacher.
All right. Okay, any other question? Okay, if there isn't, we can end this for today. A good afternoon.